3, 2, 1. Hello, this is Jack from tofluency.com and welcome to this English lesson where my wife and I are going to have a conversation about our recent trip to the UK. So stick around if you want to learn some conversational English and if you want to know some of the differences between life in the UK and life in America. So Kate, welcome back to the channel.
Thank you. It's been a little while.
Yep. And if you are new here, then Kate and I do these conversation lessons so that you can learn conversational English. And definitely check out the description for phrases and also some resources that will help you improve your English, including my free book, The 5-Step Plan for English Fluency. Okay, so firstly, we visited the UK a few weeks ago now, and we spent about 2 weeks there.
Yes.
And we visited 2 countries in the UK, England and Wales. Now, how was your overall experience being in the UK and what stands out to you from that trip?
So first of all, even though we have been to the UK several times as a family, and I had been to the UK several times before even meeting you, I've never been to Wales before.
Yep.
So that was completely new to me. And also, this is the first time taking our son, who is 5.5 years old, where he will remember this trip.
Or at least have, one specific memory, which you might talk about later. But just to give you some context, if you didn't know, Kate is American. She's from America. I'm from the UK originally, but I've been living in America for a few years now. So personally, whenever I go back to the UK, I always see it with fresh eyes. So everything seems new again. Everything seems like I'm exploring for the first time. But then after a few days, it feels normal.
Feels normal. So what stood out to you in those first few days that you didn't remember or you remembered differently?
Yeah, great question. So for me, and I've mentioned this to everyone I've seen who asked me about the trip, but the food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You've been
Good,
there when
bad?
Amazing. The food in the UK is really good. It has a very bad reputation, right? Everyone in America thinks food is bad in the UK.
Yes.
But the meat and the cheese is just outstanding.
And the produce.
And the produce, fruits and vegetables, right?
Yeah.
But I think one of the reasons that the meat is really good, or do you know what the reason is?
I have a guess. Should I try?
Yes.
I think that a lot of the produce in general, and especially meat and cheese, is from small local farms where you can see that the animals are getting outside and just having a better, healthier life.
Yeah. So especially when you're on a train or when you're traveling on the motorway, you see cows and sheep everywhere. They're in the fields, they're outside, and you see so many cows and sheep. And in America, it's not something you see.
Yeah.
But also the cheese. I had so much cheese.
You had so much cheese.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of cheese?
Lancashire cheese, which they say about Lancashire cheese that it doesn't travel very well, which means that it can't be distributed in long distances.
Did you have any Lancashire cheese?
Yep.
Did.
Yeah, I bought some Lancashire cheese from that local shop, and it was delicious. And then you can have brown sauce on the Lancashire cheese or Branston pickle, which is very good.
We don't have as many pickles or sauces as you do. It's basically ketchup.
What is? Oh,
the
here.
Sauce.
Yeah, ketchup and mayonnaise.
Ketchup 90% of the time.
Is mayonnaise as popular as it used to be here? Or is it just our friends, maybe?
That's a great question.
I
don't know.
I'll look up the statistics later. But yeah, food was excellent. Meat and cheese, which I really like. And What else stood out to me? I think that people are a little bit more direct in the UK. Which, all right, we can work this out because I'm not exactly clear on this.
Go on.
Because people talk about people in the UK being very reserved and not as outgoing. So if you're on public transport, then everyone in the UK is staring. They're not really looking at people and making conversations. Not that it happens a lot anyway, but people aren't as open. So if you are out in the streets and you pass somebody in America, you always say hello. Often, but in the UK it's not as common.
Sure.
But I find that with your friends, people are a little bit more direct. They'll say what they are thinking. Did you pick up on that?
I think that there's a combination of things. In general, I think that Americans are friendlier. Or the expectation is that people will try to be friendly.
Yep.
Whether it's on the street, whether it's somebody who is helping you.
Service.
Whether that's in a restaurant or a bank or at a shop, people are generally friendlier here. But at the same time, I think that we do try to keep everything kind of pleasant and nice.
Yes.
And smooth. And maybe that's not true for the UK. But
wow.
Yeah.
It's quite the criticism in a way.
But I think when things are bad, you have a habit of understating it.
Yes.
Whereas we tend to probably overstate it and be more dramatic about it.
I think not just when things are bad, but when things are good as well. Where, if somebody asks you, how's everything going? Are you having a good trip? Are you having a good time? Americans usually say, it's
amazing.
This is awesome.
It's awesome. So great. And what would you say?
Yeah, it's good.
Or you would even say it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. And all right means good. All right.
All right means amazing in American.
Yeah. And that's a little exaggerated, but that's definitely a difference.
Yeah.
Gone.
If it's bad, we say, oh, it was terrible, it was awful, it was horrible. And you say?
Not the best.
Not the best.
Yeah. It's not the best. Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah. Another difference I noticed was that everything seems smaller in the UK. So when we're talking about houses, cars are a lot smaller.
A lot smaller.
And the roads, it's just everything in general, I feel. Portion sizes.
Yep.
Or one thing that is bigger in the UK, a pint.
Oh.
Yeah. A pint in the UK is 20 ounces, I think. In America, it's 16.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one thing that's bigger in the UK.
So we have cars, houses, roads, buildings, food, but you have beer.
Beer. Oh, water, pint of lemonade. But yeah, everything felt quite dense. And even in the north, because in London, that's the most populated area, and the south east in general. And the north is, people think, it's a little bit more open and not as dense in terms of the population. But it did feel there was a lot of traffic a lot of the time.
Yes.
Especially in Manchester. And Manchester's changed a lot since we were last there. There are cranes everywhere, new buildings going up all the time. And I feel that's just going to get even crazier in terms of the traffic.
Do you know what's fueling all of the growth in Manchester?
I think what's happened over the last 15, 20 years and probably longer is that all the opportunities for work, they're in one city in the north, or in the northwest, which is Manchester. So all my friends who are from Preston
Mm-hmm.
now live in Manchester.
Right.
My sister lives in Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about that in Yorkshire, then it's probably Leeds. So people go to Leeds. Same in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
So all the opportunity is in one city.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's growing like that. And just population growth in general.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we've established more density,
Mm-hmm.
more compact cars and houses.
Mm-hmm.
How did that feel to you after you've gotten used to living in America?
Yeah, it felt a little bit, I wouldn't say claustrophobic, but how would you describe it? A little bit crowded?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's worth saying as well, there's no clip on this one, that our experience in America is also based on a smaller town than Manchester.
True.
But even if you go to Atlanta and Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
I've been to those cities recently, everything does seem bigger still, and it does seem like there is more space.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic is terrible in Atlanta,
Yes.
but the roads are so much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What did you notice this time?
Well, I kind of notice this every time, and please don't be offended.
I'm going to be offended.
The weather is so gray.
Yeah. It's quite sunny, though, for 50% of the time we were there.
50%?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
No.
it was sunny about 50% of the time. But it was colder and
50%?
windier. Yeah. Again, we'll look up the statistics, but it is the weather is worse there.
The weather is worse. Mm-hmm.
And something else I noticed just by watching the weather was the difference between the north and the south in terms of temperature. It's still there, and sunny days. So if you're in the southeast, it's a lot warmer and less rainy. And I forgot about that.
That's also true in the United States. Maybe even more so because it's such a big country.
Yeah.
That you get a huge variety between like Maine and Florida.
Oh yeah, it's much more different here. But in my head, because the UK is so small, or at least just taking England, I felt like, oh, it's more or less the same wherever you are. But no, it's different. It's definitely different. Let's talk about Wales. What struck you about Wales?
It was gorgeous. It was so beautiful. I wasn't expecting how dramatic it looked. We were in a little town called Abersoch, which was just...
Abersoch. It's a little joke.
Everyone was speaking Welsh a lot, which was really, really neat to hear. But obviously, I don't speak any Welsh, so that was really interesting. It just seemed to have a really good character to it and just be a really beautiful place to visit. The beaches were gorgeous. There was a lot of things to do, activities. I wish that we had gotten to go sailing, but there was sailing and there was a lot of space to walk.
Sorry, I just don't want the microphone. This lesson is all about our microphones. Your hair's just getting on the mic, so I don't know if it's affecting it.
Who knows?
Sorry.
Maybe you'll listen to my hair in English.
Or in Welsh.
Or in Welsh.
Do you remember the word for slow in Welsh?
No.
We kept saying it all the time.
Are you sure you're going to pronounce it correctly?
No, but I can't remember it now. But we kept saying it. But yeah, it was really interesting to listen to everybody speaking Welsh. And people who speak Welsh there can also speak English, or at least everyone that we met spoke perfect English at the same time. And I think it does vary by region in Wales in terms of the level of Welsh that people speak. But we were in a very small beach town, which has become popular over the last few years. But it still felt very open, and it's not really built up, is it?
No.
And a lot of people still live there from that region. And it was just a really interesting place to visit. And hearing people speak Welsh was really interesting for me. So I've been to Wales a few times, but mainly for like soccer tournaments. And we went camping once in North Wales. Mm-hmm. So having that experience was quite interesting. Yeah.
And there were castles.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a trip to Carnarvon Castle, which was very interesting.
Yes.
And built by Edward I, who conquered Wales, I think this is correct, and wanted to control Wales. So they built castles in the 13th century to control the population. And that castle is still there. And it was kind of scary, wasn't it?
It was amazing, but it was terrifying. And if we haven't already talked about our fears, we probably should sometimes, but we are both terrified of heights.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. We're scared of heights.
We're scared of heights.
And in the castle, they had these, what do you call them? The winding stairs?
Like a spiral staircase.
But then you could never get a really good foot position on them.
No,
because
they go down to nothing. So there was maybe this much of a stair on the inside, which is where the rail was, to put your feet.
Yeah. And we had to carry children.
We had to carry children. It was so steep.
Yeah. So it was fun though.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
Sweating and like trying to hold on for dear life, but also trying not to seem scared because we were there with our kids.
Yeah.
And we wanted them to have fun. So we were just smiling like this the whole time.
Yeah.
But when we made eye contact as we were going down these staircases, I could just tell that you were terrified.
Yeah.
Could you tell that I was terrified?
Yes. It was mainly on my own. I felt okay. But carrying children was different. And then there were just big holes in the castle.
Arrow holes. And our kids were trying to look out them and climb into them. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
Yeah. So, we saw the castle in Wales. We won't talk about it too much, but we went to a fantastic wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Where one of my best friends got married, and it was just a fantastic day. We had a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
So we did that. We saw family. The beach in Wales was fun as well.
Oh, yeah. I love the beach. That is my favorite place on earth, wherever we go.
Yeah. We spent all day there one day. And then we saw friends. We did other things.
We had to be bundled up, though. So we were all bundled up in towels and rain jackets and eating ice cream.
Mainly because of the wind.
Yes. It was very windy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like that, though.
Yeah.
Like, I like a windswept kind of dramatic beach.
Well.
Yeah.
And cold.
And cold. Coldish.
Yeah. Was there anything else that stood out for you?
I'm trying to think. I think I just loved seeing Thomas was able to make really good friends with a family friend that we saw while we were on vacation. And they just got to play together every day and kind of talk about their different lives in two different countries. And that was probably the highlight of the trip for me, is to feel like we're raising our kids in a way that they get to see another country and experience it. And that also that we're trying to make them aware of growing up in a world that's bigger than just the town and the region and the part of the country that we live in.
Yeah, that's great.
What about for you?
Anything else that stood out? I think that's it. I just keep thinking about the cheese.
If we had like a thought bubble over your head the whole conversation, it would just be Lancashire cheese, Lancashire cheese.
Yeah. It's very good. Okay.
It's an acquired taste.
Oh, we'll talk later. So, thank you so much for watching this conversation. If you have found it interesting, then please leave a comment with suggestions for topics for us to talk about. And then also, definitely go into the description, go download that book, The 5-Step Plan for English Fluency. Have a look at the phrases that we've used here, and then learn about how you can get premium resources as well. But before we go, Kate's question.
Oh, my question is, would you prefer to travel to the UK or America?
Very good.
The USA.
Yeah. All right. So thanks again for watching, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.